and we're going to go to the Baltic, where I think, again, we're going to have to take a different perspective on what we're told by the British establishment, certainly, Patrick.
Well, yes, and you're not allowed to know a lot of this because it's in Russian media, which is verboten in Britain, but nonetheless, and we will be asking Kit Clarenberg to contribute on this discussion. But the UK accused by Russian intelligence of masterminding a sabotage campaign against Russia's shadow fleet of tankers and ships on the high sea doing trade and commerce here. This is a report we've got up at 21stcenturywire.com from our global affairs associate editor, Freddie Ponton. And this has got a lot of interesting positions in it that I think people need to consider. We're calling this the NATO Lake, obviously, with the addition of Finland and Sweden. This has completely changed the security architecture of the Baltic environment, made it a lot more hostile for Russia. And this is a report by the Russian SRV, their intelligence services here. And this is interesting. NATO allies preparing for large-scale operations against Russia's so-called shadow fleet. And that's what's in here. There's the report. We've got the translation in PDF form, which you can go and read there. And also, what's also interesting about this, and this is where the conversation is going to get a little dicey. There's Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, and what's he saying here? Well, we'll bring on, actually, we'll bring back, we were going to bring back a quote from Keir Starmer. There it is. "The threat from Russia to our national security cannot be underestimated," Starmer said. "That is why we will do everything in our power to destroy the Shadow Fleet operation, starve his war machine." So his Shadow Fleet, his war machine, so they're personalizing this to Vladimir Putin, like Saddam Hussein style and Gaddafi style, starve his war machine of oil revenues and protect the subsea infrastructure that we rely on for everyday lives. Charles, subsea infrastructure. What's the Nord Stream pipeline? Does that count as subsea infrastructure?
I mean, I'm certainly no expert, but I would think that it might fall into that category. Yes,
I find this to be quite unbelievable here, and this is dovetailing with this. Donald Trump's hitting India with 50% tariffs. 25 extra 50 in total for Russian oil purchases. So that's coming via Russia's, quote, shadow fleet. So this is a coordinated operation between the British and the Americans and NATO, full stop. Now, we've got a video here from Chris Donahue, NATO command of NATO land forces here. Listen very closely.
If you look at Kaliningrad, at its, you can argue back and forth, but it's about 47 miles wide, surrounded by NATO on all sides. There's absolutely no reason why that A2AD bubble, to deter Russia, we cannot take that down from the ground in a time frame that is unheard of and faster than we've ever been able to do. We've already planned that, we've already developed it. The mass and momentum problem that Russia poses to us, a problem that we could get faced anywhere else in the world. We've developed the capability to make sure that we can stop that mass and momentum problem, approximately 22 divisions worth of capability. And then, of course, all of us have to make sure that we have offensive capability.
That was this week, Charles. That was this week. So a NATO commander openly advocating for offensive operations against Russia that would definitely trigger a potential thermonuclear exchange and World War III. Unbelievable here. And for further perspective on this, back in June, Kit Clarenberg published this with the Gray Zone: Secret British Plans to Defeat Entire Russian Black Sea Fleet Revealed in Leaks. So let me bring Kit back. Kit, so it's there's no secrets about what the agenda is here. Now, they're doing this openly. Russia's not advocating to attack the United States openly and how they're going to, take out the U.S. fleet in Hawaii or even in Bahrain, but yet NATO's doing this to Russia publicly. That plus what you've been sharing with us in the previous months, we'd like your perspective, Kit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm amazed that first at Russia's restraint, but also the fact that it's taken them so long to publicly discuss the fact that Britain is behind all of this. I mean, in March 2022, there is an organization known as the Council on Geostrategy, which is funded by the British Foreign Office and various defense contractors. And it published a report which openly stated that the Black Sea region was of significant importance to the UK geopolitically, and it advocated for assisting Ukraine in destroying Russia's Black Sea fleet. So, I mean, we didn't even need the leaks I reported on to know that Britain was behind this. Yes, there are numerous passages in the leaked files I reported on, which have very clear relevance to what's been going on. So, I mean, this didn't get much coverage in the Western or the English language media. But in February, there was a spate of explosions on tankers in the Mediterranean that had recently stopped at Russian ports and were ferrying Russian goods, particularly oil, around the world. Italian investigators, openly stated that they suspected that Ukraine was responsible for this. Now, in the leaked, in the leaked files that I reported on, there's all sorts of references to training the Ukrainians to use limpet, deep sea divers to attach limpet mines to Russian ships in the Black Sea to sink them. Of course, they're going to be using this capability elsewhere. What's interesting about the Ukraine's preponderant focus on attacking Russian shipping in the Black Sea is it actually has no battlefield benefit for them whatsoever. I mean, they might get a propaganda boost out of it, but it doesn't change the reality of the front line in Donbass. But they are expending, a large amount of people and resources, often on suicide missions, to try and attack Russian shipping, Russian military bases, and Russian territory in that region. As I've also reported for the Grey Zone, I mean, the entire Krinky operation, which was a catastrophic disaster ranking amongst one of the worst military disasters in modern history. This was all masterminded by the British. It was British-trained Ukrainian Marines who were doing the fighting and dying, mainly dying, using British equipment, and they were trained in Britain itself.
No, and to that point, T.J. Coles, also for the Grey Zone here, just to remind people, from 2015, the UK has trained over 22,000 Ukrainian military personnel as a part of Operation Orbital Maritime Training Initiative. And this is all detailed in T.J. Cole's book, Britain's Secret Wars, where he documents how the UK spent all this time and money and using the conflict and Stability Fund. I think there was some money allocated for that, maybe about 30 million during that period, 2017 to 2020. Conflict Stability and Security Fund. There's a lot of stuff that gets trafficked through that fund, as you know, Charles. And if you want to look at the book, T.J. Cole's Britain's Secret Wars, excellent book. And we were both at the same university doing postgraduate research as well. So in Plymouth. And T.J. Coles is a fantastic top flight researcher. I just wanted to point that out. But I want to bring Kit back. Just say, Kit, thank you very much for joining us. And we hope we'll follow your work on Substack as well as the Grey Zone. And hopefully we'll be able to talk to you again soon.
My pleasure. Cheers, guys.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. That's Kit Clarenberg. Follow him on Substack, also at The Grey Zone. He's editor of The Grey Zone UK, sister publication of The Grey Zone in the US.
Yeah, super. Yeah, excellent contribution there from Kit, and we're very grateful for it. Also worth pointing out that Orbital actually was a land initiative as well, and of course led into Op Interflex, which we've talked about a lot. And of course that's drawn a huge amount of not just money away from other defence projects in the UK, but also an enormous number of people to run the training program. So it's
and by the way, Charles,
amazing.
How many of those people trained? How many of those young Ukrainian men are still alive?
Well, I
that
can
have
tell
gone
you,
through that program.
Funnily enough, I can tell you the answer, and that is that that once the training is complete. In fact, sorry, this is from a Freedom of Information request that I had from the Ministry of Defence, which was, which units are these guys coming from and where are they going back to? And they do not keep a record of that. So they have absolutely no idea.
when you look
deliberately, of course.
And you look at the disaster like Krinky, which Kit Clarenberg was talking about, the losses were just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And, it's that discussion never comes up in all of this.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Now, changing topic,